This is the new Hyundai i30. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, isn't Hyundai supposed to be Korean? This car actually looks extremely European. In fact, it looks rather like a Peugeot 308. Look, spot the difference if you can. They do say though, plagiarism is the sincerest form of flattery. Now in terms of pricing, being a Hyundai, it's still pretty good value for money. If you click up there, you can go to carwow.co.uk, you can build your own ideal i30. Dealers will come back to you with the best price they can do on it, so you don't have to haggle, and you can basically buy a car from the comfort of your living room. Now on the inside, this i30 is not so much like the Peugeot 308 and a bit more like a Volkswagen Golf. And I mean that in the way that everything is just really sensibly laid out. So most of the functions are here on the center console, dead easy to use while you're driving. And this particular car that I've got here has plenty of controls here on the steering wheel as well. In terms of quality, not quite up there with the Golf, but it's not too far off. There are a few brittle plastics where you wouldn't expect them, but there's still soft touch materials on the dash and up here. In terms of the specification, well, this one is a premium, so it's towards the top end of the range, and you get leather seats, well, partially leather actually. They're very comfy seats. Now the model that you actually want is probably the SE Nav, because it's got all you pretty much need. You get an 8-inch colour touchscreen with, as it says, navigation. This system also gets Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for connecting your mobile phone. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the look of this because it's a big kind of like plastic tablet plonked on the dash, but because you've got this big bezel with huge shortcut buttons, it is actually easy to jump between menus while you're driving. And while the graphics don't look that swish, the actual system is very easy to use and navigate. It's actually pretty good. Now, if you click it there, you can see my full in-depth video review of this infotainment system. Just be warned, if you go for the normal SE version, you only get a 5-inch touchscreen, which really is a little bit small in this day and age. Other couple of things to note is the fact that there is a decent amount of cubby space here, so the door bins are quite large, but elsewhere, they're not too plentiful in terms of the actual capacities. For instance, the glove box is not huge, but everything is decent enough, and that kind of sums up the interior of this car. It's all right, it won't blow you away, but it's not too bad. But let's see what it's like in the back. So the i30 is pretty impressive here in the rear. So got quite a decent amount of knee room. Headroom is really good though, because of that square body look. I can fit my whole hand like that above my head. So people over 6 foot will be fine back here. Kids will like it as well because you've got huge rear windows, extra little window back here, so it's nice and light. They can get a good view out. Shouldn't be getting car sick then, should they? Which is blooming handy if you're a parent. There's also some other features like obviously an armrest, we've got some cup holders, and this is useful. There's some through loading there, so you put your skis through there and have 2 people sat on either side as well. There are a couple of things that aren't so good. The first is the footwells. So they're a decent size, but the runners for the chair in front just get in the way of your feet, so you end up having to sit with your feet quite close together like that. While there isn't much of a hump in the floor, this middle seat is quite narrow and high, and that means the person who has to sit here, if you want to go through in the back, isn't going to be particularly comfortable. But other than that, it's actually a pretty good car in the back seats. Now let's move on to the boot, because the boot capacity is a little bit above average for this class of car, so just a smidge bigger than a Volkswagen Golf, and a bit like the Golf, there's plenty of useful features. I'll just hoik this out of the way, and you might be thinking, oh no, what about that load lip that you just had to lift the thing over? Well, you can minimize it by using this adjustable false floor. There we go, just raise it up, and then the lip, if I can get it into place, come on. There we go, got it. The lip isn't too big, then you can just drag stuff straight over. There's some storage pockets either side. You've got tethering points, 12-volt socket, a hook to hang your shopping off as well. And with the false floor in its highest position, when you fold the seats down, as you can see, get a pretty flat low bay. Makes it nice and easy to push heavy items to the front of the car. Just show you what's under here. So look, we've got a space saver spare wheel, which is handy if you have a puncture. Now, if you want to see exactly how much stuff you can cram into this car's boot, click up there to watch my detailed practicality video. You'll also be able to see how easy it is to fit a child seat in the back of this car and what it's like with 3 adults in the rear seats. Right then, that's all the sensible stuff dealt with. Let's hit the road. This Hyundai i30 has fairly soft suspension, so it's pretty comfy when you're driving around town and having to go over potholes and speed bumps and such. The gear shift, that's all right, but there is one problem, and that's the clutch. So if I try to accelerate, there's this kind of jerky sensation when the clutch engages, and it just gets right on your nerves because it makes it kind of seem like you can't drive and you jerk down the road. Then there's the brakes, which are a little bit on the sensitive side, so when you touch them, they're kind of braking pretty firm. and then you change gear again to accelerate. I know, it's just also jerky, it just gets right on my nerves. Another thing that's slightly annoying is the rear visibility. So visibility is normally good, but out the back window, it's quite small for a hatchback, which is a bit of a shame. And if you click up there, you can see for yourself by joining me for a 360-degree passenger ride video. Get out on the motorway, and this i30 is a pretty decent cruiser. The only thing is though, it's not the quietest, guys. You do notice quite a bit of tyre roar, and it kind of echoes around the back of the cabin, so those in the rear will probably find that quite annoying. In terms of the engines, well, I'm driving the 1.4 litre turbo petrol, and it's pretty quick. The only thing is though, it's doing just under 40 miles per gallon, which isn't great. Other engine choices are a 1 litre, which is a bit more economical, but a bit slower, and a 1.6 litre diesel, which will probably be the one to go for if you do lots of miles. When you get out onto a twisty road, the soft suspension in the Hyundai does start to show its weakness, because yes, it does roll about a little bit if you try and chuck it through a corner too quickly. But really, do you care? And who really expects a practical family hatchback that's affordable to be both comfortable and fun to drive? I mean, that doesn't exist, does it? Oh yes, it does. Vauxhall Astra.
Now then, it's time for the Car Wow 5 annoying things about the Hyundai i30.
The front cup holder is just a little bit too close to the gear lever. Oh dear. The protruding Hyundai badge makes you think that it's the boot release, but it's actually down there. These central air vents have very little lateral movement, so you can't really double blast yourself as the driver. You can't quite fit the parcel shelf in this recessed well in the boot. Almost, so you keep trying and then you give up. The reversing camera is fairly low definition and it's hard to make out features, it's all a bit blurred. Kind of like you're looking underwater.
Thankfully, not everything about the i30 is bad. It does have some cool features. Here's 5.
The vanity mirrors are absolutely huge, perfect if you're vain, and there's even a little beauty light as well. All Hyundai i30s come with the reassurance of a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty. That's better than the industry norm. You can get the i30 with wireless charging for your mobile phone. The body of this new i30 is 53% stiffer than its predecessors, and that helps improve the handling and safety. Ow. All i30s come with driver attention assist too. Oi, come on, wake up! Prevent you falling asleep behind the wheel. Now, if you click up there, you can go to carwow.co.uk for more information and to find out the very best deals on the new Hyundai i30. So then, what's my verdict on the car? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should consider the Hyundai i30. It's a pretty good all-round competent car. It just doesn't do anything particularly special to set it apart. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and click on our logo to subscribe to the channel. Click up there to watch my 360-degree passenger ride video, down there for my detailed practicality video, and down there for my infotainment review. Now, did you spot the Easter egg in this video? It was the